Hello and welcome to another video on auction e-commerce. Now, in this series, we're covering three main points in these videos. The first point that we're covering is the exact feature that this video is going into. We're going to get into the definition, some of the different variations of this feature, some of the benefits, and then we're going to go right into real world examples. That's going to be the second area we're going to cover here. And we're going to look at some of the different in the wild examples of using this feature in a real website. And then finally, we're going to wrap up by talking about some of the permutations that you may see that may be beneficial for your business. Now, this is going to depend, of course, on your specific scenario, but we want to at least bullet out some potential areas where you might be able to adjust and fine tune this feature. Finally, I want to encourage you to stay tuned till the end of this video. We have some amazing free resources that we put together for you so that you can take advantage of moving into the next steps with your auction e-commerce platform. Okay, with that said, folks, let's dive in. Auction e-commerce bidding. This is, of course, one of the most fundamental aspects of auction e-commerce. There are a lot of different ways to place bids and a lot of different bid types. Now, we've covered these different bid types many different times in this channel, and we'll make sure to provide a link within the description area so you can take a look at some of the definitions of different bid types so you can quickly go navigate to that and take a look at it. The main thing we want to point out, though, from your auction e-commerce software is, can your auction e-commerce software actually handle some of the different bid types that you may develop into over time? You may not start out needing all of the different various bid types, but over time, it's at least worth knowing what your auction e-commerce software can handle as you progress and scale your business. Now, the other things that we want to point out with bidding is it really needs to be self-service oriented and have a lot of intelligent, opinionated governance built in for your sellers and your buyers. This is absolutely critical, of course, because as you scale your business, and your auction platform continues to grow, you're going to run into an issue where you just simply can't handle all the workload if it's really not completely self-service as much as possible. Okay, now with that said, some of the different interface and examples of the bidding process are shown here on my screen. So you can see we're actually showing a group auction system, which is pretty interesting. So the user has the ability to bid on individual items and place their bid on those. And then they are actually able to effectively bid on all of the items within this group bid. And then that auction overall has a time period when it closes. Now, that's a pretty interesting and unique model, but ultimately, whenever you are doing a bidding process and you're conducting this bidding process, there are some key things that we obviously need to make sure the user has access to. So first of all, we want to make sure that the user can actually see pictures of the items. And we need to make sure it's easy for the seller to upload those pictures. And we're going to take a look in some of the other videos at how the seller can get an administrative platform and a mobile application that they can use to be able to easily and quickly upload those, and just talk about some of the features and some of the key aspects that are critical for that. In this particular example, though, the user is able to very quickly add bids and make bids from a grid view presentation. Now, this is really important because most folks are really busy. They don't really necessarily want to go through a lot of extra steps. And so if they can quickly add their bids and get that done, that's great. Of course, they can also click to drill in and see a detail view of the particular item that they're bidding on. The other thing that we want to note is that the user can actually do some pretty interesting things here where they can actually add a watch to the bid. They can share it with someone else. They can give a notification setting so that they get alerted if a different criteria is hit for that particular item. And of course, they can drill in and see more detail about the bid itself. Now, we're going to go into detail in some of the other videos in this series about the watch process and the notification process. But ultimately, whenever you're looking at a bid and conducting the bid, the other thing that many times makes sense is qualifying the user before they can actually place a real bid. Now, let's take a look at an example of that presentation next. Okay, so here you can see the user has been approved to bid, or they are requesting approval to bid. And in order to do that, in this case, they have to put their credit card information in. So whenever they go to bid on these items, we're basically requiring them to put in some form of payment, and we may be doing a pre-auth and hold on that payment method before they can actually go in and place real bids. Or we may be doing some form of legal documentation as well, depending on the size of the bid itself. The bid that they're placing is meant to be effectively a contract if they win the auction with the seller. And they need to go through the different legal documents and terms and conditions and be able to specify any details we need around shipping, fulfillment, taxes, etc. So this is a really important step, but of course we want to keep it as seamless and simple as possible for the user. The other thing that we want to point out is making it really easy when the user is bidding to continue the process and continue this funnel and use of the site is really, really important. Number one, within an auction process is being able to engage the users and keep them engaged throughout the bidding process. So we can maximize those auctions and get the most value for both the buyers and the sellers. So one of the things that we can do is provide them with a notification capability. And we'll go into more detail on this later, but here you can just see an example right out of the gate whenever someone places a bid that we're going ahead and prompting them after they've been qualified, they can place the bid now. We're notifying them in different formats that might work best for them. We can text, email, we can notify them through the platform. We can add a calendar invite for when the bid is about to end. It's really up to them. They can get all of these forms of notification. And this is really helpful to keep the buyer engaged in the process with the auction. The other thing that we want to point out, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the dashboard portion of our feature review, is giving the buyer the opportunity to go in and look at their particular auctions and see where they're at in the status of those different auctions in the process. Allowing them to quickly go and navigate is really, really helpful. And then finally, the other thing we want to point out is depending on the scenario with the bids, allowing them to auto bid or set up rules for how they're going to be bidding on that particular auction so they can continue to set a maximum that they want on a particular item is absolutely paramount. So here you can see an example of that, the ability to adjust the maximum bid that they are placing on a particular item. Ultimately, these are all features that you're going to want to cater to your specific business, and you're going to want to provide an interweaving of these bid capabilities with your notification system so that we really create, in the ideal scenario, a frenzy of bidding around different auctions that are occurring. And we can really create a lot of positive momentum for some of these different auctions that go on. Okay, with that said, we're going to wrap up by talking about some complementary resources that may be helpful for you with your auction e-commerce project. Thanks for watching this video on auction e-commerce. This is a series of videos, and we want to encourage you that you're welcome to take a look at the additional features and functionalities as you see fit, and may be a good area for you to understand more. You can take a look at the detailed next video in this series by clicking the link that we've provided. We also have a set of links to all of the different videos in a playlist that you can take a look at. We've also compressed the videos into a single overall video. And if you would like, we've put together a free resource guide and checklist on auction e-commerce. One of the other things that we love to do at Clarity is provide you with complimentary guidance with some of our technical experts. So if you're interested in this, we call this a complimentary discovery, and you're welcome to go to our website, link below in the description, and go ahead and get that free complimentary discovery. We just want to say thank you again so much for watching this video and for being fans and subscribers. If you would, we would love it if you would do some auction with the like button and go ahead and hit the winning bid on the like button. All jokes aside, we really appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks again.